What's up, guys, and welcome to Across the Pond Previews and Predictions. In this edition of Previews and Predictions, we are going to be talking about Liverpool versus Manchester United. I don't even know if they have that, what they call it. It's just Manchester United versus Liverpool. It's a big derby. It's the biggest derby.
Is it a derby?
Yeah, it is, yes.
What's the name of the derby, though? Derbies have names.
No, they don't have a name.
Not a derby.
It's big. It's biggest, two biggest clubs
Not a
in
derby.
England. Derby, that's
Not
what it's
a
called.
derby.
Anyways, let us begin the previews and predictions, and then the big games in Europe as well that we have the weekend before, technically on this, but it's okay. I have them ready though.
Ooh.
First game of the week is on Friday. Cardiff City will play Watford, Cardiff City Stadium, 8 versus 17. Jacob Bowler, who you got?
Cardiff, 2 back-to-back wins. As you said, they're in 17th place. They've pulled themselves up out of the relegation zone. So I think that they at least have an opportunity to keep that momentum going. Watford not necessarily playing their best. They did win last week, but they had a couple of unexpected games where they dropped some points.
So who you got?
I think I'm gonna go with a draw. I'm gonna say like Cardiff keep getting points, but
Why is
they're
it
not
gonna
gonna
be a
win
draw?
this game. I don't know. I think that Watford. I think Watford should win this game, but they're not playing that well, so they're not going to be at their best.
Okay.
So Cardiff are going to take advantage of that and get a draw.
Yeah, I don't start for winning this game at all. I feel like last week,
At all?
it was just a blip. It just didn't seem like they are creating legitimate chances, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Watford. And I think Watford is going to win 2-1. So I'm going to go with Watford.
Okay. Maybe I'd like totally heard something that you didn't say, but I totally thought you just said that you thought Watford weren't going to win this game.
Anyways, Watford, I'm going with Watford. 1 football app has 60% going to Watford, 6 to a draw, 34 going to Cardiff City. Then we are going to move to the London Stadium, sir, where West Ham take on Fulham, 10 versus 19. Jacob Bowler, who you got?
West Ham, another team that's struggling. Only 2 points from the last 5 matches, but I do think they are going to win this game, get themselves back on track. I've lost all faith in Fulham. Fulham are dead to me. They had that big comeback win against Brighton, the 4-2. Since then, I thought they were going to keep some momentum going. They haven't. They suck. They're going to get relegated, and they're going to lose this game.
I think the big way West Ham's going to have to set up is just like how their midfield is going to look. If they have a 2-man midfield where they're not loading people into the box, they are going to be opened up in this game. I like Babel. I like the way he's kind of added an extra gear for Fulham. I think he doesn't get enough credit yet so far. I think he just adds a key pass in him, an extra good run, clever run. I think he's opening up the like ideas for Surrey, but actually, I'm going to go with a draw in this game.
Ooh.
Because I just don't have faith in Pellegrini on how he sets up sometimes. If he has a 3-man midfield, I think they're going to do excellent. If he doesn't have a 3-man midfield, they are going to be opened up. So I'm going to go with a draw.
Okay.
So 83% going to West Ham, 4 to a draw, 3 to Fulham. Next, we are going to Turf Moor, sir, where 3 takes on 15. Burnley versus Tottenham. Jacob Bullard, who you got?
Tottenham are the team, like they're like the little team that could, because with having missed Dele Alli and Harry Kane for an extended period of games at this point, a lot of people thought that this was kind of going to be the end to their. I don't want to give it the credibility of a title challenge, but like they're there. I mean, they're within 5 points. Of the top, but they keep grinding out results, and I think the only game they've lost recently was the United game, right?
Recently, yes, technically.
Yeah. So I'm going to give the edge to Tottenham. I think that they're going to find a way. Heung-min Son has been really, really big for them since coming back from the Asian Cup games, whatever that's called. I think it's just called the Asian Cup, right? He's been on fire. Scored for them in the Champions League. We'll get to that, obviously.
So
and
Tottenham?
Yeah, I'm going to go Tottenham.
How are they going to win?
I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1?
Son with a brace.
I'm kind of in the same boats, I guess, with Tottenham. I think Son has been the difference maker for them currently since he's come back. I know Harry Kane is going to be back pretty soon, I think by the end of the month, since his rehab has actually been accelerated and he's progressing really fast. So it's really good for him. But I think Burnley's still going to give him a game, but I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. I would say 2-1 Tottenham. Okay. So 1 football app has 86% going to Tottenham, 3 to a draw, and 11 going to Burnley. Let's keep a moving. Bournemouth versus Wolves at Vitality Stadium, 7 versus 11. Jacob Buller, who you got?
I'm really torn on this one. Obviously, both of these teams are teams that don't necessarily want to have the ball. We talked about this extensively in many of our podcasts about how neither of these teams seem to do that well when the onus is on them to like have possession and be the creative team. Wolves obviously coming off a disappointing performance against Newcastle. I think that I'm going to give the edge to Bournemouth, but only because they're the home team. Bournemouth really haven't been playing exceptionally well. Ever since their annihilation of Chelsea a few weeks ago, they really have dropped off. Both of these teams, Wolves are in 7th right now, but both of these teams, their season's basically winding down, especially Bournemouth. I don't know. They'll have to put together a big kind of last minute push if they hope to catch Wolves in that 7th spot and possibly get into Europe, depending on how the stuff falls out at the top. But
who you got?
I'm going to go with a draw in this game.
Okay. I'm going to lean towards Wolves on this one because I still think the lack of Brooks, the lack of Wilson, you saw it especially with the Liverpool game. They just weren't able to kind of structure any kind of attack. They had like one in like the first 10 minutes, and basically after that, they were basically carved apart. They just didn't have the extra kind of creative runner or just creative pass, and I felt like those two guys missing are just huge holes they cannot fill with Solanke, with Ibe. Those players just don't offer anything for them, and they're probably going to start in this game. Nathaniel Klein's going to be back, obviously, because he couldn't play in the Liverpool game. I think a guy that was missing this past weekend, but I still don't think it's going to be good enough to beat this Wolves team. I think last week, Wolves just played a team that is professionally sets up almost every week. Sometimes, obviously, they have blips, but I don't see them having too much trouble with this Bournemouth team, actually. So I'm going to go actually 3-1 on this. 72% going to Wolves, 9 to a draw, and 19 going to Bournemouth. Next, we are going to St. James's Park, where Newcastle plays Huddersfield Town, 16 versus 20, a relegation game battle, whatever you want to call it. Jacob Bullard, who you got?
I think Newcastle have a big edge in this game. Obviously, Huddersfield are going to be desperate given their situation, but they're nearing the point now by like maybe this time next month, it'll almost be guaranteed, like mathematically guaranteed that they're going to be relegated. The Huddersfield are going to be relegated because they are 13 points below 18th place. 18th and 17th, I think, actually. So Huddersfield, it's looking pretty grim for them at the moment, which is why I think Newcastle, not only are they the better team, but I do think that Newcastle are going to have a little bit more fight in them just because I think Huddersfield will have lost hope almost at this point. So I'm going to go with Newcastle. I think they're going to win 2-1.
This one, I'm really hesitant on how they actually performed pretty well against Arsenal, surprisingly. Adding Punchin to the lineup has added a great threat, but also a guy that just is like kind of everywhere. He was slotted on the left, but had a lot of activity on the right. The only thing I think they need to find a good combination between him and Moy with his clever runs, his ability to like lay out passes. I think Moy needs to be able to kind of have that kind of on the same kind of page, I guess, in a way, and have the same kind of influence, because I felt like since Punchin's coming into the lineup, he hasn't had that kind of opportunities because Punchin. They just need to be able to find a good balance between both of them, and I think they have like something going forward with them where they can somewhat attack. Because what you saw at the Arsenal game, Arsenal's backline is terrible at the moment, but they did a good job on disorganizing them, and I think they're able to do that. But I think I'm going to go with a draw in this game as well, just because I feel like, again, this is the time to get into the trenches, stalemate as much as you can, grab points where you can. I think the 3 points will do what they want. I don't think they're going to get. I think Newcastle, it's just going to be a 0-0 draw. No points scored. All right. So the OneFootball app, 83% going to Newcastle, 5 to a draw, 12 going to Huddersfield Town. Let's keep moving. We are going to King Power Stadium, where 12 plays 13. Leicester City versus Crystal Palace. Jacob Bullard, who you got?
Leicester City, short of their draw against Liverpool a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now maybe, have not really been able to get anything going. They have 4 losses out of their last 5. The one that wasn't a loss was obviously the draw against Liverpool. I know they're kind of in that solidly middle table block again this year, but I think they've actually been a little bit disappointing. Obviously, without Riyad Mahrez, and we've talked about that before in the past, not being able to replace those players, but they're dropping points to teams that they shouldn't be dropping points to, and I think that might happen again now. I know Crystal Palace have also been very hit and miss, but are definitely capable of putting together a professional performance. So even though Leicester are the home team here, just given their recent form, I'm going to give the edge to Crystal Palace. I'm going to go with Palace on this one.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm going to go with Leicester City, actually. I thought their game against Spurs this past weekend was actually a pretty decent. The weakest point in their team in that game was actually their back line. They just need to be able to absorb pressure. With Batshuayi coming in for Crystal Palace, he did not do anything whatsoever this past weekend besides whiff a penalty shot, basically. It seems like Crystal Palace creates those chances but are not finishing. And I felt like it's been like a continuing thing throughout this whole year. And Zaha just saves them. And I see potential in Yari Tillemans. And I think he's going to be able to run this game and be more of a impact. He's a guy that could take a lot of long shots. I feel like Crystal Palace is going to allow him that space to be able to do that, disrupt. And I think he's added an extra element to this team. And him and Ndidi have been...
You seem to be... I think you're a little bit higher on Tillemans than I am. I think that he's, like, since he came from Anderlecht and then Monaco, right? Mm-hmm. I think that he's one of those cases of unfulfilled potential.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be able... I think he fits into this team well. That's what I think. I think this is a good fit for him. So I'm going to go with Leicester City. I think they're going to win 2-1. One Football app says Leicester City as well with 71%, 8 going to a draw, and 21 going to Crystal Palace. The first Sunday game, I guess, that we're going to do is at the Emirates, where Arsenal face Southampton, 5 versus 8. Jacob Buller, who you got?
This is not the time that Southampton want to be playing Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal's defense is a huge question mark at the moment, and it's possible that Southampton are going to be able to take advantage of that. But with Southampton currently in the relegation zone, I don't think that Arsenal is the team really that they wanted to play next. Or, of many teams that they could, Arsenal would not be high on that list. So I'm gonna go. I think that Arsenal will be able to win this game fairly handily, despite Southampton probably putting up a good fight. I think it'll be one of those games where it's close through maybe like the first hour, and then Arsenal kind of pull away towards the end. So yeah, I'm gonna go with an Arsenal win here.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one as well. I'm gonna go with Southampton, just on the fact that Arsenal they have. Out of the top 6 right now, they have a worser backline than Chelsea somehow. That's just the way I've seen it, especially against a Huddersfield Town team last week. They were just out of position, having just little errors. A team that in Southampton that are able to have those clever runs with either Ings, Austin, Shane Long, Redmond. I think they have a lot of potential going forward to be able to expose this back line. It's going to depend also on how they set up. I see them making a game out of this and being entertaining. And Southampton did beat them earlier meeting where it was like a 3-2. And I think it's going to be again 3-2. The only weakness in Southampton is how are they going to defend set pieces and how their back line is going to be shielded by Romeu, stud for them since Hasenhutl's come in. So I'm going to go with Southampton 3-2.
I think that in Arsenal's defense, they're in defense of Arsenal's defense, a healthy Arsenal defense is better than a Chelsea backline.
I'm saying right now though. Oh, actually, Southampton. I picked Southampton. Let me see. One Football app says 81% going to Arsenal, 4 to a draw, 15 going to Southampton. Lastly, for the Premier League game previews, we got Manchester United versus Liverpool. It is at Old Trafford, 2 versus 4. Jacob Bullard, who you got?
Obviously, I want Manchester United to win this game. I think that given what happened in the midweek for United, but I think I'm going to go for a draw. Liverpool haven't necessarily been at it their last 4 or 5 games. Obviously, the 2 draws to Leicester and West Ham. United have been rolling everyone that they played in the league, everyone not named Burnley anyway. I think it'll be a very tight game. I don't think it'll be a shootout. I'm going to go with a 1-1. Very tight strategic game at Old Trafford. I'm going to go with the draw.
I'm going to go with United, obviously. How they're going to win this game, if for some reason Alexander-Arnold does not play or start in this game, we know who we're going to go after, and that's James Milner. Also, if Matip, that's another guy we're going to be able to expose. Liverpool plays next weekend Champions League. So it's going to depend on their lineup too and how they're going to set up. That's where I say the weakest points where United's going to exploit, where I believe Liverpool is going to be able to exploit is if Young continues to start at right back for United. That's like the biggest weak point right there, where I don't know how he does it, but he has to force his teammates to make plays in his position sometimes. And it's just frustrating to watch. Same thing with Luke Shaw at times. He's a little bit better about it, but he is just a guy that does not deserve to be in a top 6 side in general because of just those lacking defensive abilities and awareness. I'm really hard on him. I appreciate his efforts, but he just doesn't deserve to be on any top 6 side regardless. But yeah, that's going to be the weak point in the United team. The One Football app agrees with me with 51% going to United, 5 to a draw, 44 going to Liverpool.
So they basically have a draw.
Yeah, so it's like a...
It's like that's about as even as you could expect.
I think it's just the way United has emerged, also the amount of fans, but also there's a lot of Liverpool fans as well. I think it's an even game. I think it's a game where you can't really call like off the bat and like how it's going to be, I guess. It's just going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit more surprising. Like I said about the Watford versus who they played last week.
I almost said Newcastle, but
Everton. And how it was like, it's going to be someone that's kind of going to come out of nowhere. And it was Andre Gray. So it's going to be like this, kind of like we're going to see something, not that we've never seen, but it's just going to be like, okay.
I mean, this is going to be also, keep in mind, United without Lingard or Martial.
Yeah, depending on their injuries as well. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been previews and predictions for the Premier League. Leave some comments down below what you think of what's going to happen in all those big games that we previewed and predict. I have been the host, Richard Rodillo, joined by the man with a noggin. The Mannion with a noggin. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the iTunes podcast and YouTube channel, liking the video, giving us all that love. Like I said, leave some comments down below. That has been Hits. We are done. I think I'm ready to do another thing. But it's whatever's. Yes. Bye.
Bye-bye.